Alrighty, so today we are going to finish up the review of match week number 15. And I promise you that there were home teams that were able to win in this review because, as I said in part one, pretty much nobody were able to win and get all 3 points at home in the first 8 games. But at least here, we did see two teams that were able to get all 3 points when they are playing at home. Though that was not the case, at least in the first game between Seattle and St. Louis City. And yeah, for St. Louis, they're heading the wrong way now. So, early this season, I'm pretty sure St. Louis fans are very frustrated. The team keep drawing games. But now lately, I think those same fans are hoping that would have never stopped because ever since they stopped drawing games, they have gone the wrong way and are now on a 3 game losing streak, followed this 2-1 defeat against the Seattle Sounders. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Hebert puts it high from long range before the first shot of the game from Seattle sees Paulo shot deflected wide. Vasilev then missed high from close range before Pompeo hits one right to fry as St. Louis started to create some good sustained pressure. They were pushing for the opener. Klaus was in on goal there, and he was trying to chip it over Fry, but he puts that one wide there in the 33rd minute. Again, if this was Joe Klaus from last season before he got injured, that would be in the back of the net every single time. But on the other end, Rui Diaz would miss wide from long range, and we head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Alex Rodon would miss wide from long range before Heber puts it high from the corner. Totland then hits one right to Fry in the 64th minute. But then in the 66th minute, Seattle strikes, and it's actually a bit of a fortunate goal from the Sounders, too, because Kyle Hebert, of course, scored the own goal here. This was a very fortunate play where I think it was Christian Rodon basically crossed this one. It took a wicked deflection off of Hebert, and it basically looped over Berkey's head. I mean, that's just one of those very unfortunate sequence and one of those unfortunate own goal there, but it gives Seattle a 1-0 lead, and then just 3 minutes later, Gordon Morris would strike as he scored from Rusnak and Rui Diaz to make it 2-0 in favor of Seattle. By the way, that is the 69th career MLS goal for Jordan Morris, and it happened on the 69th minute, so nice. But in the 76th minute, Jackson would look to respond, but he hits it right to Fry. Though in the 82nd minute, St. Louis does reply as Thomas Totland would score from Leuven to make it 2-1 in this one. And then on the other end, Woski was in on goal there and had a chance to restore the 2-goal lead, but he puts that one wide. And that's when you're thinking, oh, is Seattle going to come back to regret missing that chance? Because, yeah, as the time winds down, St. Louis was pressing hard to try and to get the equalizer. Seattle was definitely looking like they were holding on for dear life. Leuven had a cross that basically goes by everybody on the doorstep of goal. And then the post would deny Joe Claus and St. Louis the equalizer in the 5th minute of stoppage time. Again, if this was Joe Claus from last season, that post that he hit probably wouldn't have happened. That post probably would have just bounced in because St. Louis. It feels like last season it seems like they got all the luck last year, but this year it's been kind of the complete opposite. As they lose this one, it's now a 3 game losing streak for St. Louis as they lose 2-1 in this one. Shots in this one, 24 shots compared to 7 that the Sounders had. So yeah, St. Louis definitely the better team in this one. The shots on goal pretty much tells the story as well. 5 shots on goal compared to just 1 that Seattle has. And keep in mind, that own goal by Kyle Hebert, that does not count as a shots on goal. So this is one of the rare situations where you see a team score 2 goals in a game, and yet they only had 1 shot in the entire game. 6 shots off target for the 4 that Seattle has. 1 shot that was blocked for the 10 that St. Louis had. And possession-wise, 55% possession compared to the 45% possession that St. Louis has in this game. And I think this is just a classic example of what happened when one team are the more clinical and the other wasn't. And that team that was the more clinical gets the win. And it's a big win, too, for Seattle because with this win, I believe they're now above the red line, and I think that's the first time that they've been above the red line this whole season. So in a season where it's been a very frustrating season for the Sounders, clearly underachieving, and that not to mention the attack has been very frustrating to watch. And I think after this game, I don't think much has changed. Their attack was pretty anemic throughout this game, but hey, they walk away with a win in this one. And again, for St. Louis, very frustrating game, and that again they didn't play bad in this game, but the finishing is just not there and the luck is just not there compared to what we saw last season. And we talk about how Seattle is above the red line for the first time this season. I think this is also the first time this season we see St. Louis drop below the line because yeah, this losing streak that they've been on, which has now hit 3 games, have now made them drop below the red line. And this is, I think, the first time, not only this season, but in St. Louis City history, that they're below the red line, because they were not below the red line at all last season. They were pretty much in first place pretty much throughout the entire season last year in the Western Conference. But that being said, moving on in the next match is Minnesota and Colorado. And I gotta say, I don't know what to feel of this game from the Loons, because on one hand, they definitely gave me PTSD moment of blowing a 3-1 lead against the Rapids in this one, compared to the game I attended last year between the Loons and the Galaxy, where I saw them blew a 3-1 lead that they had at halftime and blew that in the second half. But on the other hand, the good news is that they didn't do exactly what they did on that unfortunate night that I was in person at Dignity Health Sports Park, which is just completely melt down in the second half and lose this one for free, because they got a draw out of this game. And I gotta say, they're pretty lucky that they got a draw out of this game, because my word, that second half, yeesh, that was tough to watch from both on the attacking end and also the defensive end from this Minnesota United team. Now, early on in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Cabral miss wide from close range, but then on the first shot for Minnesota, it's in the back of the net, as Sumbin would score for the second game in a row. He scored from Lud to give Minnesota a 1-0 lead. That was the first shot of the game for the Loons, and again, this is what happened when Sumbin actually decided to shoot. I mean, he's a guy that, throughout the season, I just pretty much been begging him to be more unselfish and basically take a shot, because there's been many times this season where he gets into a good position and he just become too unselfish. Well, now he's not unselfish anymore, and look what happened. Now he's finally started to score the goals for this team. Though that being said, on the other end, Dane Sinclair denied Navarro from close range, and then just 1 minute later, Colorado equalized. It's Kevin Cabral. He scored from Fernandez and Navarro, and it's a Kevin Cabral goal when he almost messed that up too. He actually took a heavy touch there, and he just about poked that one past Dane Sinclair here. I mean, you could argue maybe Dane Sinclair probably should have got to that one when Cabral took a heavy touch, but nevertheless, it is all square at one apiece. It did not stay tied for long though, because in the 24th minute, guess what? Paniolo Vashari scores again, as he scored here to make it 2-1. It was actually originally ruled offside, but they go to VAR to check if that's if that's not the case, and it wasn't the case. Oliver Shari was just on slide there, so that made it 2-1 in favor of Minnesota. And then just a couple of minutes later, Sumbin would score again, as he scored from Oliver Shari and Arriaga to make it 3-1. And that was also only the third shot for Minnesota in this game. Who are these loons all of a sudden being very clinical in front of goal? I mean, I don't recognize this team, seeing them being so clinical in front of goal, and I especially don't recognize the fact that, these 3 goals were almost identical, with the way that it was just a simple long ball, just kind of cut through that Rapids defense, and they're in on goal, and next thing you know, it's in the back of the net. So yeah, again, very rare that I've seen that this is kind of the resort that Minnesota has had. But yeah, they were up 3-1 in this game. Laraz then hits one right to Dane Sinclair before the post, with denying Cabral, despite the fact that Dane Sinclair spills this one and it actually fall kindly to Cabral. But this is Kevin Cabral, ladies and gentlemen. You know he's gonna find ways to mess things up, even if he presents the chance, and that's an example of it. And I even wrote that is a peak Kevin Cabral moment. There's a reason why I keep saying a player had a Cabral moment, or maybe a Kyoto moment. I still haven't forgot the horror miss that Romel Kyoto had a couple of years ago. But yeah, that is just a peak and signature Kevin Cabral moment. And we will also see a Cabral moment that happened in this game as well, that also cost a team not only a point, but all 3 points in the game. But that being said, I also thought that, yeah, the Loons and Dane Sinclair got away with this one. This was a very shaky night for Dane Sinclair, and I don't know. What is it with Dane Sinclair when he faced against the Rapids, especially at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, that he just always struggle against the Rapids? A couple of years ago, we saw how he gifted a couple of goals against the Rapids, and yeah, this was another game. As we'll see in just a bit, he gifted a goal for the Rapids. But we do head to halftime with Minnesota leading 3-1, but heading into the second half, the Rapids started to control the game, and one thing I didn't mention, don't let the 3-1 lead distract you, the fact that Colorado was still controlling the game. And one thing that I didn't mention in the first half of the Loons is the fact that they had problem in terms of keeping the ball and really just making simple passes. In fact, at the end of the day, they actually finished with a passing accuracy of just 57%. Yeah, that is not good whatsoever, and it's just amazed the fact that this team were 3-1 up despite how horrible they were in terms of passing accuracy. Like that's almost kind of Red Bull's number in terms of passing accuracy when the Red Bulls are. I don't know that they're a team that's notorious in terms of being bad in terms of their passing, but because of the press that they run, it doesn't matter in the end in terms of the passing accuracy. So that being said, Sunbin would hit it right to Stefan as he was going for a hat trick. And then he tried to go for a hat trick again, and he was in on goal, and this was a chance for him to do so. And he puts that one wide. So yeah, remember how I said in the first half, who are these loons and why are they being so clinical? Yeah, in the second half, it feels like reality is starting to set in. We're starting to see why at times I just pull my hair out of this for this team because of how much blown chances that they have, and it would come back to haunt Minnesota because of those missed chances. Because just a couple of minutes later, Navarro would get on the score sheet as he scored from Mihajlovic to make it 3-2 in this one. So Rafael Navarro continue his hot streak. His loan is going to be end in the summer. There's no doubt Colorado is going to extend that or even purchase him outright because there is no way in hell that the Rapids should not think about extending him. Like it would be a huge mistake if the Rapids does not extend him because of how hot he's been in terms of this season, and it also came off of just a bread and butter play for the Rapids. We know that they are a very dangerous team on set pieces, and there you go. Minnesota do a good job defending it. Navarro heads it in, made it 3-2, and then just a couple of minutes later, a penalty was given to the Rapids as DJ Taylor brought down Fernandez from the spot. This is when I thought, yep, the meltdown is happening for this team, and this is very similar to what I've seen when they play against the Galaxy, where they just had a total meltdown in the second half. But that being said, from the spot, Dane Sinclair denied Navarro from the spot, and I think that's the first time that Navarro actually missed a penalty for the Rapids. He's always been clinical in front of the spot. So yeah, that was a great save there from Dane Sinclair. It wasn't really necessarily a bad penalty, but just a great save there from Dane Sinclair. But if there's one thing I will say about Dane Sinclair, and as much as he has made some incredible save, there's been times where he also had some boneheaded moment. That's kind of been how he's been in the last couple of seasons. So guess what happened? A couple minutes after he made a great save, this happened. So Kevin Cabral would score from Bassett and Bombito. When's the last time that Kevin Cabral actually got praise in a game? And you also know that hell has kind of frozen over when Kevin Cabral has scored twice in a game. And you can thank Dane Sinclair for this. And I even wrote Dane Sinclair given, Dane Sinclair taken because yeah, this was not a moment that Dane Sinclair wanted to look back. This was him just pretty much fumble the ball from an easy save into the back of the net. Though that being said, he did make up for it just a couple of minutes later, where he denied Vines from close range, and then Navarro would heads it right to Dane Sinclair in the 80th minute. The momentum was clearly with Colorado, and I think the momentum technically shouldn't I shouldn't have even have to write that because Colorado pretty much has been dominating this game, and this is when I thought it's imminent that the Loons are not only completely rattled, but the collapse is about to be complete. They're gonna blow this 3-1 lead and lose this game. But as I said that in the 87th minute, they almost took the lead as the post would deny Pookie after just a WTF turnover there from the Rapids. It actually hits the post as Pookie was trying to score from an empty net from a tight angle. And while it is a tight angle, I have seen Pookie put those away. And that's also kind of sums up Teemu Pukki so far this season. He has just been ice cold this year. And, if he doesn't figure things out, this could be his final season for Minnesota. And it's a shame, too, because after what he did last season, it seems like he probably has started to not only age out, but he's maybe being washed up because of how snake bitten he's been in the last couple of games. Lonwane then hits one right to Stefan. We then get 8 minutes of stoppage time. Again, don't let these chances fool you for Minnesota. The fact that the Rapids were still dominating this game and they were still controlling this game in Minnesota. Really, most of these chances that they got was just because they were lucky to string out these long balls that ends up creating a chances because they weren't doing anything in terms of making a couple of passes to build up on the attack. And that's again, Eric Ramsey even mentioned this in the post game presser how frustrated he was. The team was not controlling the possession and was just simply not playing and being organized as a team both on the attacking and defensive end. But that being said, in the 10th minute of stoppage time, Harris would hits that one high despite having a free header. My heart definitely sank when that free header was hit it, because yeah, that is one that Calvin Harris absolutely should score there, and one that Minnesota is very lucky they got away with one. Speaking of lucky, that's how I kind of felt in terms of how the second half has gone, because despite the fact that Minnesota blew a 3-1 lead, they somehow were able to hold on to get a point out of this game. And the shots in this one kind of tells the story. 20 free shots compared to 9 that Minnesota has. 6 shots on goal compared to 9 that the Rapids had. 3 shots off target compared to 1 that Minnesota has. 1 shot that was blocked compared to 7 that the Rapids had. And possession-wise, 69% possession compared to 31% possession that Minnesota has in this game. They need to play better than that Minnesota. And this game, I know some people will blame it on the altitude, and I also think that maybe be this game just kind of shows you how important Miguel Tapias is for this team. Obviously, Tapias not available in this game because he picked up the red card in the last game, and yeah, it is pretty clear that he was solely missed in this one. But again, they can't keep getting away with these kind of resorts. There's been a couple of times this season I've seen them getting away with these kind of resort, which is kind of weird to see because under Adrian Heath, I guarantee you that Minnesota would have lost this game. But yeah, they I'm pretty sure this team knows it. I'm pretty sure Eric Ramsey knows it too. Again, he was definitely not happy in terms of how they play in this one. With that being said, for the Rapids, I mean, yeah, I know that they'll be happy that they came back and show some determination in the second half. But boy, they must be also very frustrated that they dropped points in this game, in a game where they probably should have won in this one, especially in the second half with all those chances that they had. They absolutely should have won this game. So overall, it's kind of a weird one. It's a high scoring kind of game. It's a very fun kind of game if you were a neutral watching this, and it's also a game that shows you why these two teams are definitely. I mentioned these two teams are probably the most surprising package of this season, but they're definitely proven to the rest of the league that they are for real, and that in this game it basically shows you that. But man, I'm pretty sure even as a good of a game that they put for the neutral, both of these teams is definitely going to be left frustrated, with one team being frustrated because of the way that they play on the road, and then the other being frustrated because they draw points at home and they didn't take the chances, the chances, or at least a little bit more of the chances that they've been given in this game. But that being said, moving on in terms of the next match is the Galaxy and the Houston Dynamo. So yeah, we finally saw the first team to get a win at home, and in fact, both of these games actually ends up to be a home win, and it was by the same score line. Though this was a game where I thought it could have gone either way, with the way that it was a very even game between both of these teams. And I also mentioned that the Galaxy were coming into this game winless in the last 5 games, which is kind of strange to say that they actually are on a bit of a winless run, because they've been playing so many entertaining games. But I think a lot of that with those entertaining games means that they've drawn a lot of games. 4 out of their 5 games that they've been winless has ended in a draw, and they make sure that this is not number five, and they don't have their winless run go to 6 games. The first shot of the game did see Caceres' header that was denied by Tarbell before Aliu would puts one as the flag went up. Artur then puts it high from long range before Herrera missed wide from long range. The Dynamo started to get some good opportunity early as they were looking for the opener. For the Dynamo were the better team in the first 20 minutes. And in the 18th minute, Latif Blessing would score to make it 1-0 in favor of the Dynamo. Some say that it must be a blessing for him that he scored that one, because, yeah, it was an absolute gift from John McCarthy. So I mentioned goalkeeping mistake. There was a lot of it this week, and this was one of them. I mean, just an absolute gift. McCarthy gave it straight to Blessing, and like I said, seems like it's a bit of a blessing, the fact that he scored that one. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the stupid pun, but in the 20th minute, McCarthy did make up for it as he absolutely robbed that Bassi there, but it was recycle, and Blessing gets a second opportunity of it, and he would have scored for the second time if it wasn't for Yamane being in the right place, right time to clear this one off the line. There was no doubt the Dynamo were hungry to try to get the second goal, and it's another slow start for the Galaxy in the first half. They had a couple of these doing this winless run, and it happened once again. Carrasquilla then hits it high from close range before Fagundes would hits it right to Tarbell after just a bad giveaway there from the Dynamo. But then in the 44th minute, the Galaxy would equalize. It's Gabriel Peck. He scored from Yamane and Delgado to tie the game up at once, kind of against the run of play too, because up to that point, that was really the second real good look that the well actually probably the third real good look that the Galaxy has had in the first half compared to the Dynamo had multiple chances to extend the 1-0 lead in this game. With that being said, Tarbell would then deny Pooch from close range, and we do head to halftime with the score tied up at 1 apiece. In the second half, Peckwood hits it right to Tarbell as the Galaxy picked up where they left off and tried to look for the lead. But as I said that, Aliu basically had a Cabral moment. Yeah, this is one that Aliu is going to be thinking about for at least until Wednesday because yeah, he had an empty net to shoot there from 4 yards out, and he just completely fluffed his lines. I mean, that's a classic example of one that it's harder to miss from that range than actually putting it into the back of the net. So in the 52nd minute, Mikhail would heads it wide from close range before Sevchenko would heads it right to McCarthy in the 54th. As all of a sudden the momentum was back with the Dynamo, but the question is, can they get that lead back, and will that alley mischance come back to haunt them? Well, the answer is yes, because in the 59th minute, Ricky Pooch would score from Peck and Brookman to give the Galaxy 2-1 lead, and again, it was kind of a little against the run of play because you thought the Dynamo started to build some momentum, and the Galaxy immediately responds. Peck then missed wide in the far post before Delgado missed wide from close range, as now it seems like the Galaxy has the momentum back again. It was a very even game. It was the momentum swing was definitely big in this one, and up to that point, the Galaxy has it. They were pressing for a third goal. Aliu then hits one right to McCarthy in the 90th minute as the Dynamo late looked like they had the momentum now and was pushing for the equalizer. The Galaxy was looking to hold on, and they do exactly that. Although at the full time whistle, yeah, Ben Olsen was not a happy man, and not because of his team performance, but he was very upset the fact that the ref blew the full time whistle when the Dynamo was on the attack end. And in some way, I don't blame him because I think if you see a team that's on the attack end, even if the Dynamo was kind of building up slowly, I think that was probably the a bad moment or there's kind of a bad timing in terms of blow for the full time whistle. Even though we have already hit the threshold in terms of the minimum of stoppage, because if the team is on the attacking end, just let it play out and see what happened. But after there's some words that Ben Olsen had with the referee. He then had some words with Ricky Pooch as well, as after the game, Ricky Pooch and Ben Olsen, they were definitely exchanging some choice words. I'm not sure it has anything to do with the fact that Pooch hair was absolutely hideous and it matched the same color as the Dynamo. I mean, that's kind of a weird choice to decide to go with a haircut that matches with the opposition. Or the fact that I heard some people say it has something to do with Pooch making some very dirty foul late in the game that yeah Ben Olsen was not a big fan of. But either way, the Galaxy they do walk away with a 2-1 win, and the shots in this one, 12 shots for the 14 that the Dynamo has, 6 shots on goal for the 5 that the Dynamo has, 6 shots off target for the 3 that the Galaxy had, 3 shots that was blocked for the 4 that the Dynamo has, and possession wise 48% possession compared to the 52% possession the Dynamo has in this game. So yeah, again, this was a game. It could have gone either way, but the Galaxy took care of most of their chances. And for the Dynamo, they didn't play bad in this game. They just didn't take enough of the moment. And again, that alley miss, that is an absolute killer for them in this game. Because if alley puts that one in, I think this game probably could have been a little bit different, though, who knows? I mean, Galaxy games are always entertaining, and this was another example of that. That being said, moving on in the next match, we got the Timbers and Sporting KC. So, as I mentioned, coming into this game between two teams that love to blow leads late, the question is who's going to do so? It looks like Sporting KC decided that they were going to be the team to blow another late lead in this one. Though, at least in the first 15 minutes, yeah, if you didn't watch the first 15 minutes, don't worry, you didn't miss much. Nothing happened in the first 15 minute. In fact, the first shot of the game came in the 16th minute as Memo Rodriguez would struck the post from the front post before Mora would head it wide from close. As the shots were 4-0 for Portland 30 minutes in. Neither keeper really had to make a save because despite the fact the Timbers had most of the shots, none of them was on target. Rodriguez then hits one right to Milia before he pulls it just wide from long range. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Did I say that Memo Rodriguez was the one that hit the post? I meant Capacito Rodriguez was the one that hits the post. That's why I probably should have used the first initial because there was two Rodriguez here from both the Timbers and Sporting KC. But that being said, Sporting would finish the first half with 0 shot. It was a very flat performance and uninspiring performance by the visitor. But we do head to halftime, though scoreless, and despite the fact that Sporting finished with 0 shot, there was no goals to be scored. That quickly changed in the second half because 6 minutes into the second half, Timbers takes the lead. It's Felipe Mora. He scored from Evander to give the Timbers a 1-0 lead. That lead would be short-lived because 11 minutes later, Memo Rodriguez would score from Polito to tie the game up at one apiece. And if you can believe, that is actually the first shot of the game for Sporting KC. And I don't think I've seen a team that scored their first shot of the game this deep into the game. But yeah, again, just um just also kind of came off a bad turnover there from the Timbers. Yeah, that's something you don't want to do even against a struggling Sporting side. But yeah, the game was tied up at one apiece. Melia then denied Mosquera, but it falls right to Mora, but it was blocked away. But then it recycled back, and Capacito Rodriguez had a third opportunity, but he blazed that one over the bar before on the other end, Polito would puts it high from long range as the game definitely started to liven up. And this is not a big surprise because it's almost like as we head into the final 20 minutes, who's going to be the team that blow this game? Because we're now heading into that crucial stretch where I even said in the preview, as we head to the last 15 minutes, I'm pretty sure both of these teams are very nervous because they know that this is kind of the vulnerable part of the game where the narrative is going to come from either of these teams. Well, guess what? The narrative came for at least in terms of blowing these game strikes once again for Sporting KC because after Mora took a wicked deflection and missed one in the 69th. In the 79th minute, Timbers takes the lead. It's Evander. He scored from Mora and Rodriguez to make it 2-1 in this one. Originally, it was called offside, but VAR actually overruled the original decision. So once again, for probably what seems like the 100 times this season, Sporting KC give up a late goal this season. I mean, up to this point, I'm pretty sure if you're a Sporting KC fans, you're probably not really frustrated anymore. It's almost like it's second nature. You're pretty much just numb in terms of the endless pain that this team has gone through throughout the season. But then in the 85th minute, Arujo would put one right to Melia before I thought the Timbers were looking to try to get the third goal. And it feels like it's Groundhog Day again for Sporting KC. You can definitely see the heads were dropping with this team because they know that here we go again. It's another game we're on point of blowing the lead. Though that being said, the Timbers were seeing that and they say, hold our beer. At least try to do so because we're gonna try to give the game away late in this one. And I will say that Maxime Crepeau though had other ideas because in this 97 minute he absolutely robbed Russell from a point blank effort, and then Agata would heads it wide from close range. And yeah, in the end, the Timbers they hold on to win 2-1 in this one. By the way, it's almost like not only the Timbers were trying to give this game away, but they want to make sure that streak of them giving up 2 goals or more would extend to 11 games. But it finally came to an end. For the first time in 10 games, Portland Timbers did not concede more than 2 goals and did not concede multiple goals as they win this one 2-1 against Sporting KC. 11 shots compared to 6 that Sporting KC had. 2 shots on goal for the 5 that the Timbers had. Both teams had 3 shots off target. 2 shots on block for the 1 that Sporting KC had. And possession points, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that the Timbers had in this game. And with this loss, Sporting KC is now officially dead last in the West. Yeah, this is not going so well for this team. And unlike last season where they were dead last because they were really bad in the beginning of the season and they had an incredible run to lift themselves up, they are just hoping that that's going to be the case again because my word, this has just been a disastrous season for the Sporting KC side, and a lot of that again, it's just the same old same old. It's either them blowing a lead and not closing out games, or the fact that they decided to give up late goals time and time and time and time again. And this is another game to show, and them alongside with a couple a bad team right now in the league have pretty much the longest active winless run that any team has had so far. That being said, I am now going to change boards and look at the last 4 games to finish off this review for match week number 15. So moving on, in the next match, we got the Quakes versus Austin, and this felt like a very Austin FC kind of road game, at least for this season. A game where somehow in some way, despite the fact that they pretty much did nothing on the attack, and they give their opposition a lot of chances, but Brad Stuver once again getting some bailouts on this Verde's defense, and somehow just a very fortunate goal is the reason why they got a point in this game against the Quakes. And I gotta say, for the Quakes, I mean, the good news is they did stop the bleeding in terms of this losing run that they have in all competition. But man, this was just such a frustrating game to watch, and kind of just sums up the problem that the Quakes have been having throughout this season, because they absolutely should have won this game against Austin FC. Now, early on, they were on the front foot, the Quakes. Ebobisi would puts it high off of the deflection before Pellegrino hits it right to Stuvert. And then in the 10th minute, guess what? Jeremy Ebobisi, he's back on the score sheet. He scored from Espinoza, give the Quakes a 1-0 lead. That seems like it's the first goal of what seems like forever for Jeremy Ebobisi. In fact, I would not be surprised if that's his first goal of the season. In fact, I think that might be the case. I think he might have scored again against Austin in a couple of matches ago, but man, it's been a rough season for Jeremy Ebobisi, and he really needed that one badly. But yeah, that gave the Quakes a 1-0 lead. Barrow on the other end looked to respond, but he hits the side netting as the flag went up, so that didn't count as a shot in this one. Costa would then puts it wide after just a WTF turnover there from Austin. And I mean, Road, this looked like early season Austin with just so much sloppy giveaway at the back and not much really going for it on the attacking end. Lopez then hits the side netting in the near post before Stuver denied Pellegrino from close. And then Stuver would deny Espinoza in the 29th minute. It's been all Quakes up to this point, but again, Brad Stuver. How many times have I said it this season? I mean, I think he's going to be on hand of winning. Well, not really winning, but in contention for goalkeeper of the year, because the amount of bailout job that he has done to this Los Verdes defense has just been incredible this season. And there's just time and time again he has bailed out off a non-existent Los Verdes defense, and it seems like he's on hand to try to steal another one, at least for Austin in this one, or at least up to this point, trying to keep them in this game as long as possible. He then would deny Lopez from long range before Cascante with Austin's first shot as he heads that one wide from close range. That would be the first of what would just be 6 shots that Austin would has in this game. Again, like I said, it's a very Austin kind of game when they would register their very few shots in a game. Though that being said, on only their second shot of this game, it goes into the back of the net as Heinz Ike would score from Wolf to tie the game up at 1 apiece. So this is a rare goal there from Brendan Heinz Ike. I don't think he has scored a goal ever since he was with DC United. I think this is only his second career MLS goal too. And I would say that this is probably the luckiest one that he scored out of the two, because he basically heads this one right to Jackson Yu back, and basically it bounced in. I feel like that probably should have been registered as an own goal, but I guess maybe it was on target, so that's why it says it's credit to hindsight, and it was credit as a wicked deflection. But again, that was just so unfortunate for the Quakes. And honestly, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When you're a bad team, you're not going to get any luck, and when you're a good team like Austin has been lately, you're going to get those luck. And this is kind of a prime example of that. But we do head to halftime, tied up at 1 apiece in the second half. Guerrezo would puts it over from long range. Not much really happened, as there was no rhythm and lot of fouls, which I thought that favored Austin, because that's what they want to do, and that's how they like to play on the road. Espinoza would fires it wide from long range before Scan would hits it right to Stuvert. And then Espinoza would hit a weak effort that actually hits the post. So despite the fact that he didn't really hit this one cleanly, it still hit the post, and then it kind of recycled to a point where Lopez has a second effort of it, and he absolutely blasts that one onto the post. I mean, yeah, that was just a vicious hit there from Hernan Lopez. Yeah, it hits the post there, and I thought that sequence basically sums up the Quakes night and also the Quake season in a nutshell. Because as bad as this team has been, and I know this team is bad, and I know that part of the reason why they are so bad is because their defense has been pretty much non-existent. But I would also say part of the reason why the Quakes have been so bad is they're just getting so many bad luck this season. I mean, from the blown call that we saw a couple of games ago against the Timbers on the road, and then some of these missed opportunities that they had. Again, this feels like it's one of those game again, because in the end, in a game where you would think that the Quakes should have won with all those chances that they create against Austin, and Austin getting that one lucky chance that goes in, it ends in a 1-1 draw, because that's how Austin FC has been survived on the road. Again, don't ask how that is the case. Don't ask why Austin is once again overperforming their expectancy goal and expectancy point, as that's kind of their MO, at least for what we saw in their Western Conference final run in their second season. But they did it again here, and the shots in this one, 23 shots with the 6 that Austin has, because again, this is an Austin FC road game. They don't like to take shot. They're at least allergic to take shot, as long as they don't play against a team on the road in Texas. But 2 shots on goal for the 7 that the Quakes had, 6 shots off target for the 2 that Austin has, 2 shots on blocked for the 6 that the Quakes had, and possession wise, 49% possession compared to 51% possession Austin has in this game. Again, very frustrating game for the Quakes. But at least if you want to take maybe a positive spin out of this, they definitely play much better in this game, and that it feels like if they keep performing the way that they did in this one, the wins are definitely going to come. But I said that before a couple of games ago when they were playing well, and yeah, so far the wins have not come for the Quakes this season. With that being said, moving on into the final game on this board is Vancouver and Inter Miami. So obviously coming into this game, a lot of the the talking points wasn't actually in terms of this actual game. It was more off the pitch because of the fact that Messi and his friends decided to not show up in this game, decided to take a rest. And despite the fact that no Messi was in this game, over 50,000 still showed up in this match, and it is the largest single game attendance for the Vancouver Whitecaps in their club history. Though majority of those fans, yeah, they definitely were not happy in the beginning of the game because Messi didn't show up. In fact, literally as soon as Miami kicked the ball off, a huge thunderous boos that was ring out in BC plays, and again, I get it. I understand that obviously. See, it's got to be frustrated for all those fans that pay hundreds of dollars to see the greatest player of all time, and he ends up not showing. And the Whitecaps also in coming into this game even took a step extra. Where remember how I mentioned that they decided to put 50% off in terms of concession, and even give kids that is under 18 free food. But they even said that they all those people that have tickets for this game, they get a chance to attend another Whitecaps game and get to redeem another get to watch another Whitecaps game in the near future. And again, this is great on what the Whitecaps done, and they don't have to do that. I mean, again, I know there's a lot of negative attention that's going on with the Whitecaps, but at the end of the day, I'm just one of those, maybe a minority, that say that I don't think the Whitecaps can do anything more than this. It was completely out of their control in terms of Messi not being able to show up. I mean, again, it's not their fault, and in many ways, I think this is more on the league's fault. The fact that why would you decide to put Inter Miami to play on the road for a weekend game, and then in the middle of the week they fly back to play a midweek game at home. That just feels like it's a bad timing on the league's part, and that again the Whitecaps, they're getting taking a lot of stake because of it, and I just feel like it's kind of a little bit overblown in my opinion. But that being said, going back to the game itself, Takaoka would deny Campana from close range before Rojas would hit one right to Takaoka, as I thought Miami was on the front foot. They were pressing for the opener goal. I mean, that probably shouldn't have happened. I mean, I thought I was hurt in this game without Messi and his friends. They were not going to play very well. But in the 11th minute, Taylor would have a shot that was deflected, and it goes right to Takaoka. And then Jordi Alba, the only guy that is from Messi and friends that actually showed up in this game. He would puts it wide in the near post, and I thought Miami was just killing Vancouver on that left side. I mean, they were really exploiting the Whitecaps on that left side. White would then miss wide on the header before Veselievich would hit it wide from close range, and then in the 38th minute, Miami takes the lead. It's Robert Taylor. Remember how he's a guy that still score a bunch of goals, especially early in the season. Well, he shows that he still is a good goal scorer, especially from outside the box, because he scored a lovely curling goal there from Alba to give Vancouver, or not Vancouver, but Miami a 1-0 lead. And that goal also came up on the attack on the left side as well. Again, Miami was just keep exploiting that Whitecaps team. The Whitecaps was definitely pretty weak defending that right side, and Miami just took full advantage of that. Vite did look to answer, but he puts it wide from long range, and we do head to halftime with Miami leading 1-0. In the second half, Pico would put it wide on the header before White heads it wide from close range. Vancouver definitely come out the second half as the better side, but in the 54th minute, really kind of against the run of play, Leo Campana, again, a bit of a forgotten man for Miami because of how good Luis Suarez has been. He scored from Robert Taylor here, and what a great transitional play this was for Miami. They really did a good job in terms of playing quickly on the attack, and they were rewarded with them taking a 2-0 lead in this one. White did look to answer, but his shot was deflected wide. But then a penalty was given to the Whitecaps after VAR deemed that Alvarez brought down Pico on the free kick, or not on the free kick, but on from the spot, and that allowed Ryan Gold to score from the penalty spot in the 72nd minute. Although, Drake Calendar, he's going to be very frustrated of himself because he did go on the right way and he almost made a great save on that. But in the 81st minute, the post would deny Pico header, who basically had a free header there. So yeah, that's very unlucky there from Fafa Pico not putting that one in. But there was no doubt the momentum was with the Whitecaps. Now it seems like Vancouver was started to press for the equalizer. Miami looked like they would just hang on for dear life. Martins would then put one right to counter in the 7 minutes of stoppage time. And then right as the full-time whistle was about to blow, a red card was actually shown to one of the assistant for Miami that was very upset at the fourth official and the center ref that the full-time whistle hasn't blown. So this is the second game that we've seen this week where we've seen an assistant getting sent off. That's something we usually do not see happen every day, and it happened twice this match week. With that being said, in the end, Miami does get that full-time whistle and do get the free points. And this is only the second time this season where Messi did not play in this game that they get a win. And I think they definitely send a message to the rest of the league and even myself that, yeah, they're going to be okay, even if Messi and friends does not play in this game. Though that being said, the shots in this one, 18 shots better than 9 that Miami has. But the shots on goal tells the story. Only 2 of those 18 shots for Vancouver was on target. One of them was a penalty kick too, mind you. Compared to the 6 that Miami has, no shots off target for the 6 that Vancouver has. 7 shots that was blocked for the 3 that Miami has, and possession-wise, actually dead even at 50% for both of these teams. And for the Whitecaps, what a big missed opportunity this was. Again, coming into this game, I thought that as much as the publicity was very negative, when it comes to in the game itself, you would expect this is a big opportunity for the Whitecaps to get all 3 points because Miami has shown throughout most part of this season without Messi, they haven't been very good and they haven't had a good record. And while they definitely showed some fight late in this game, it was just way too late. And that, yeah, in the end, this Miami gets the big 3 points. They stay in first place and basically keep that top spot and still are going toe to toe with FC Cincinnati for that supporter race. But for the Whitecaps, yeah, what a letdown this is. And it's been a letdown for Vanni Sartini team. It feels like this is kind of almost like the opposite of last season, where Vancouver got off to a bad start last season and then they got better as the season goes along. This season they got off to a great start and now, yeah, they are not having a good run. And unfortunately, this pretty much exposed the thing that a lot of people talk about the Whitecaps and why a lot of them weren't really thinking that they were serious contender, and even some might call them frauds in terms of the good starts that they had because again they play a relatively easy schedule to start the season. Now they're getting through the top for part of the schedule, and they have definitely altered and unfortunately proven a lot of those naysayers are right about how this team is. With that being said, that is pretty much it in terms of looking at all 6 of these games to finish off the review for match week number 15. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this review. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. And yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.